And 50 years after his death, theories, half-truths and many questions linger over what exactly happened on the day former US President John F. Kennedy was assassinated, as we were just saying in our press review. As America is in the midst of 3 days of mourning and commemorations, current President Barack Obama has paid tribute to the former leader's sober, square-jawed idealism and daring legacy. But as our correspondent Philip Crowther reports, the conspiracy theories over JFK's death may have, in many ways, taken over from his achievements as president.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
President at the age of 43, assassinated at the age of 46. John Fitzgerald Kennedy's death made history, maybe more so than his actions as president. His resting place at Arlington Cemetery is where one pays tribute these days. In the minds of most people here, these images caught on camera.
President Kennedy has a legacy far beyond simply the fact that he was assassinated. He was the first president born in the 20th century. He was the youngest president elected. He brought a youthful idealism to this country. He challenged us to head to the moon. Many very idealistic thoughts that he brought forward.
The 3 years that JFK spent in the White House captured the imagination of America and indeed the world. Now Washington pays tribute in its architecture, its street names, its monuments. But thoughts keep returning to that fateful day and to the investigation.
You're looking here at some of the documents that the Warren Commission produced.
It was commissioned by President Lyndon Johnson. Its conclusion, Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. That's a conclusion that's been challenged again. New doubts about the single-shooter theory abound, but there are other authors like James Swanson who reject all talk about conspiracies.
We've been so distracted by tales of grassy knolls, conspirators, multiple gunmen, the CIA, the FBI, the Russians, the Cubans, Lyndon Johnson, Texas oil men, multiple suspects. We've forgotten who John F. Kennedy was. And we've got to remember that on November 22nd, a wife lost her husband, 2 children lost their father, and America lost its president. John Kennedy was a war hero, he was a veteran, he was wounded, he sacrificed his life for his country. He believed in American exceptionalism, American greatness.
The US Capitol is the resting place, but it's in Dallas where many Americans want to see that precise place where a tragic chapter in US history was written.
Here in Dallas, you do notice how short that distance really is between that 6th floor window up there from where the shots were fired and the place where X marks the spot on this street here where President Kennedy was hit by those bullets. What you also see here is that Elm Street is a pretty normal street with cars passing by all the time and a lot of people passing by all the time who want to visit this spot and who also ask themselves the same questions that they asked themselves 50 years ago. A lot of people here still very dissatisfied with the official version of what happened.
This tree is that tree there. As you can see here, it was a 2-way at the time. It's now 1-way. Then the left coming down there. Definitely conspiracy, cover up. Who knows? But definitely conspiracy.
I wasn't aware that his wife was a niece of a KGB officer.
All 3 shots seem to come from up there. It's more of why he did it, why he was killed immediately after by Jack Ruby.
Many of those doubts stem from the death 2 days after that of the president of Lee Harvey Oswald. JFK's declared assassin was never put on trial. This is why someone like Deborah Conway still spends her time in the Dallas suburbs looking to prove what she believes is the truth.
I do believe that there was more than one shooter in Dealey Plaza that killed the president and wounded the governor. I also think that there was a conspiracy to put these men up to this, that they wanted to change our government, that they didn't like the way that President Kennedy was leading our country. Maybe they thought he was naive and young and wet behind the ears, and I think they chose to eliminate him.
The doubters are not alone, and new polls show how deep the disbelief is ingrained in the American psyche. 6 out of 10 Americans believe Lee Harvey Oswald did not act alone.
Well, that's where we leave it for now, but stay with us on Live from Paris. My colleague Rochelle Ferguson will be back after a short break with more international news, including more on that fascinating story of 3 women held as slaves in London for 30 years. Do stay tuned.